everyone. I'm Kayleigh McEnany along with Lisa Booth, Harold Ford Jr., Brian Kilmeade, and Jimmy Fela. Who let him in? It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. We begin with this Fox News alert, a critical and emotional day 4 of the Charlie Kirk preliminary murder hearing. The court hearing for the first time a recorded interview from Tyler Robinson's former roommate and former lover, Lance Twiggs. Here's some sound from that, where Lance Twiggs claimed that Tyler Robinson told him he wished he had not done it.
So he acted erratically. Was he pacing? Was he just sitting down, relaxing?
No, he was walking around a lot.
Right, and that's within the home?
Mm-hmm.
And did he talk about what he had done?
Didn't go into detail. I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. He started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it.
Let's go right to Claudia Cowan in Provo, Utah. Claudia.
Well, good afternoon, Kayleigh. Here on day 4 of Tyler Robinson's preliminary hearing, we finally got to this highly anticipated police interview with Lance Twiggs, Tyler Robinson's former lover and roommate, and the prosecution's star witness in their case against the accused assassin. Judge Tony Graff ordered that much of the 37-minute-long interview be played with significant redactions to ensure Robinson receives a fair trial, but by any measure, message directing him to a note he had left. That's when the courtroom monitor goes to black, but the audio continues. Listen.
That was the note under his keyboard that he was referring to in the first text of that chain.
Okay, so where did you find this?
On his desk underneath his computer keyboard.
Prosecutors say that note and text exchanges include confessions and a motive, including a text where Robinson, when Twiggs asked, "Why did he do it?" replies, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." Twiggs also positively identified Robinson as the man seen in surveillance video at the crime scene, saying he recognized his clothes and his sunglasses. Twiggs also testified Robinson was trying to get hold of a rifle and was interested in engraving bullets for an upcoming hunting trip. The court saw pictures of bullets found inside the suspected murder weapon, with messages like, "Hey, fascist," and "If you can read this, you are gay." Now, this testimony about rifles and hunting brought Erica Kirk to tears. She has been fighting throughout this whole week to get access to as much evidence as possible to combat wild conspiracy theories and to protect her own First Amendment rights. Kayleigh, we may not have seen everything that the prosecution have, but what we did see in court today would appear to go a long way to helping the prosecution prove that there is probable cause to hold Tyler Robinson responsible for her husband's murder.
Yeah, without question. Claudia, thank you. Let's bring in Fox News contributor and former LA Deputy DA Josh Ritter. Josh, I want to play a soundbite, and then I have a question for you. But this is the moment Lance Twiggs talks about those engravings.
He asked me for if we had a Dremel because he said he wanted to engrave messages on bullets. And I just told him where a Dremel was, and I told him to make sure he doesn't set off a bullet on accident in the house. But I didn't really think about it until then.
So are we talking like a year before?
Oh, no, not that long. It would have been, I'd say at most a month before this was when he was asking.
So, Josh, I've read testimony that, or some color from the courtroom, that Robinson's becoming visibly agitated during some of this and talking about the engravings. Do you think he's realizing that it's not just a mountain of evidence and it's an avalanche? Could this drive him to a plea deal?
Yeah, I think he's seeing the walls closing in. There was an avalanche of evidence today. We had heard a lot of evidence before today, but today was really the lion's share of it, and some of the strongest evidence, too. We're talking about evidence coming from his former partner, his roommate, a person that he had a romantic relationship with, who's essentially giving the most powerful evidence in this prelim yet, talking about the confessions that he made out of his own mouth to this crime, along with the text messages and the messaging online and the letter that he left behind. All of this is incredibly convincing evidence, and yeah, he's probably starting to think to himself that whatever his attorneys had been convincing him of before now might not be all that true, and this is a very convincing case for the prosecution.
What I'm wondering is if I submitted this script for Law and Order, they'd hand it back to me and say there's no mystery here. There's no intrigue. On campus, you have the interaction. You have him get the confirmation of the identification that that's him from his boyfriend, trans lover. So you have all this together. The question is, if you're the defense, do you see any holes to pursue right now? Or do you say, make your decision, Judge, I will see you on trial?
I don't think they have any holes to poke in this case right now with this lower standard that we're talking about at the preliminary hearing of just probable cause. And as far as how they handle this case going forward, to me, there's two strategies. They go hat in hand to the prosecutor's office and they beg for something less than the death penalty. Or it's this war of attrition that we've seen. We are past the 300-day mark right now, and we're just getting to the preliminary hearing. So they've already tried to employ that to just try to wear the prosecution down. And perhaps we'll see more of that. But if this goes to trial, I agree with you. The evidence runs the entire gamut from forensics to DNA to surveillance to his own confessions. It's a very, very powerful case. I don't see any obvious holes unless there is something that catastrophically falls apart for the prosecution. I don't see the prosecution offering him anything less than the death penalty. It'll be remarkable if we see any kind of plea agreement before this reaches trial.
You know, Josh, Lisa Booth here. Thanks for doing such a great job breaking this down for us. Obviously, you look at the publicness of this trial and the information that has surfaced. What role does this preliminary hearing play with the eventual jury pool?
So that's been a big question and something that the defense has tried to focus on and why they're making much of their arguments as to why some of this evidence should not be shown in court. They keep talking about how we cannot prejudice our client, meaning we've been doing this for decades now, and we know how to handle this as a judicial system. We have very robust voir dire and jury questionnaires. I think they're going to be able to find a fair jury. What this is doing more than anything is probably putting to rest a lot of these bizarre and circulating conspiracy theories so that people can actually see the evidence against him.
Josh, that was going to be my question. We've got so many moonbats on social media trying to exploit the notoriety of this trial. Today was, by all accounts, a really bad day to be a social media agitator, would you not say?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It did seem as though the prosecution was going down a checklist of every kind of conspiracy theory that was circulating online and almost answering it in turn. I mean, we got down to the idea that he was familiar with that weapon before, how that weapon could have certainly fired from that distance, all the things that seem to have been a question online. We're connecting him through DNA. We're connecting him through surveillance. I mean, one of the things that shouldn't get overlooked with the testimony that we heard from Lance Twiggs today is he identified Tyler Robinson from steals of that surveillance video. That's the first time that we've heard that. Before now, it's always been a person matching his description. And he said in court through this recording that does look like Tyler Robinson.
Josh, this is supposed to end tomorrow. We are supposed to finally, after 300 days, get a plea from Tyler Robinson. Does that happen? Does this end tomorrow?
If the prosecution is wrapping things up today, I think we've got a chance. When you're counting witnesses, it looks like we're getting down to the last couple. But bear in mind, too, there's argument at the end of all of this. And if we've learned anything from these attorneys, they like to take a lot of time to voice their arguments in court.
Hired former Republican media consultant and executive Roger Ailes as its founding CEO. Key aspects of Fox News: mission and positioning. The network was established to offer an alternative to what Murdoch perceived as a liberal bias in mainstream media. It combines traditional news reporting with opinion and commentary programming. Political alignment. Fox News is widely recognized for its conservative editorial stance. It is a significant source of news for Republican voters in the United States and has frequently been the subject of debate regarding its influence on American political discourse. Reach and ratings. As of 2026, it remains one of the most watched cable news networks in the United States, often leading its competitors, CNN and MSNBC, in viewership ratings. Ownership. It is a subsidiary of Fox Corporation and operates under the broader brand Fox News Media, which includes other outlets such as Fox Business, Fox News Digital, and the streaming service Fox Nation. Criticism and controversy. Throughout its history, the network has faced criticism from various researchers, commentators, and political figures. Critics have often accused the network of biased reporting that favors the Republican Party and conservative causes while presenting the Democratic Party negatively. The network has also dealt with various controversies over the years, including allegations